Gave my puppy to the paperboy. It was the best thing I ever did. My golden retriever had a litter of 14 puppies in 2008. I took off 3 weeks of work so that I could rotate them for feeding on mama's milk. As they grew and became playful, the neighbors started taking notice. My next door neighbor, Beth, kept very strange hours. Every morning, around 4 a.m., I'd let the dogs out to play and use the bathroom. Beth would walk up to the edge of her adjoining yard and ask how the puppies were doing. I'd politely answer and ask how her son Mitch was doing. We'd talk for about 20 minutes and then move on with our day. When the puppies were about 6 weeks old, Beth told me that her son was interested in having one. I stopped her right there and informed her that if Mitch was interested in a puppy, he should talk to me directly. The very next morning, Mitch walked over and asked if he could talk to me for a minute. I invited him to sit on my porch with me. I hoped it would help ease some of his obvious anxiety. He asked me how much I was selling the puppies for. I told him $650 each. I could see his mind working something out by the way his eyes darted back and forth, as he mumbled a few numbers under his breath. He said, "Leon, I would like to buy a puppy and name her Ginger." He told me that he didn't have a single dollar saved, but that he'd find a job, make payments, and be her best friend for life. Obviously, I had concerns. Here was this 13-year-old boy, with no money and little to no sense of responsibility, who thought that raising a dog was a good idea. I did my very best to make sure that each puppy was going to a good home and I wasn't about to sell one of them to some irresponsible kid. In my head, I quickly devised a plan. I told Mitch that he had 4 weeks to save up $400. He had to give it to me in exchange for a 10-week-old puppy of his choice. He could pick the puppy today, but he couldn't have her until he had the $400. After that, he had to continue paying $100 a week until his debt was satisfied. If he defaulted, by even one day, I got Ginger back. He shook my hand to seal the deal. Mitch found a job that same day while I was at work. He started delivering newspapers 7 days a week. He mowed lawns and did whatever he could to make and save a buck. I think it was 3 weeks later that he handed me $650. He was so driven and I was so impressed that Ginger was his. After all, we'd shook on it. I let him know that if there ever came a day when taking care of her wasn't possible, to please give her back to me. I told him to never give her to anyone else. Mitch knew how I treated my dogs and it was an easy commitment for him to make. We shook on that as well. For the next year and a half, Mitch and Ginger were inseparable. He was always walking her and playing with her. He loved her so much. But, as it goes, life can be very cruel sometimes. The day after the new year in 2000.
Click the link in my profile to watch the exciting follow-up.